Students, welcome to the video class part 7. In the previous class we have discussed about the concept of electrolysis. Means what is it, electrolysis process, what are the uses of electrolysis process, how it can be done, and various concepts that we have discussed about the electrolysis. Okay, now we shall move towards the one more concept in this topic, what is called quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Okay, what is this quantitative aspects of electrolysis? In the case of electrolysis process, electrolysis taking place in the electrolytic cell. Electrolytic cell. The electrolytic cell, there are two electrodes will be available. One is called, that is anode, and another one is called a cathode. The anode, at which the oxidation reaction takes place, and the another electrode called cathode, at which the reduction reaction taking place. So these oxidation and reduction reactions are taking place at the different electrodes. Usually on the anode or at the anode, oxidation involves, and on the reduction, on the cathode, the reduction process will be taking place. Okay, suppose if you pass electricity through the copper sulfate solution, what happens? If you take copper sulfate solution. So here in case of the copper sulfate solution, when you just prepare the solution in the water, it ionizes to form what? Cu+2 ion in aqueous state, and sulfate ion, that is SO4-2 ion in the aqueous state. Okay. Now here if you pass electricity through the aqueous solution of the copper sulfate, so what are the reactions taking place at the respective electrodes? What is the reaction taking place at the cathode, and what is the reaction taking place on the anode? So anode means it is positive charge only. That sulfate ion is moving towards the anode, and cathode means that is negative charge only. That cation, Cu+2 ion, is moving towards that electrode. Suppose here the reaction taking place at the cathode. What is the reaction taking place on the cathode or at the cathode? Here Cu+2 ions in the aqueous solution, it takes up what a required number of electrons. Like that Cu+2 is having the charge, it is in need of 2 electrons. Okay. Now what it forms? It forms a copper solid on that electrode. It forms what? That copper solid on the electrode. Okay. Now here this is the reaction taking place at the cathode when electricity is passed through the copper sulfate solution. What is this quantitative aspects of electrolysis? That's what we are studying now here. In order to deposit this 1 mole of copper, here 2 moles of electrons are required. In order to deposit 1 mole of the copper metal, it requires how much? 2 moles of electrons. Okay. Now here in case of this reaction, that is what the reduction will be taking place on the cathode only. The reduction reaction taking place on the cathode now. In order to deposit 1 mole of the copper, 2 moles of electrons required. Suppose what I am telling, charge on electron is how much? Charge on the electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. This is the charge on the electron. What is the charge on 1 mole of electron? What is the charge on 1 mole of electron? Here the charge on 1 mole of electrons is equal to how much, 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 is the charge on 1 electron. 1 mole means you have to take the Avogadro number, that is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 electrons, or this number we have to take. So now this is what is called a charge on 1 mole of electron, that is a charge carried by 1 electron, and what is the value of 1 mole of electrons. So now this will be equal to 96,485 coulomb. It is approximately equal to, we take what now, 96,500 coulomb. This is the value of charge carried by 1 mole of electrons. Charge carried by 1 mole of electrons. Even this is equal to, we take now 1 Faraday of electricity. 1 Faraday. 1 Faraday means that is 96,500 coulomb. How it is obtained? It is obtained by means of what? This relation. That is what? The charge carried by 1 mole of electrons. This is charge on the electron. It is the mole value, 1 mole value, that is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 electrons charge only. So now this is the exact value and it is approximate value, and finally we consider 1 Faraday is equal to 96,500, that is equal to 1 Faraday, or it is given by the notation 1F. Following all of you. And now here now, in case of this reaction, when the 2 moles of electrons are supplied through the wire, so then 1 mole of the copper will be deposited. Following. Suppose now, if the charge flowing through the wire containing less than the 2 moles of electrons means, then the amount of the copper deposited is less than 1 mole. Therefore, a quantity or amount of the substance deposited or discharged or liberated or produced at an electrode is depending upon the quantity of electricity. So quantity of electricity is more than the amount of the substance liberated or deposited at the electrode is also more. So in that way, we should understand what is the quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Now the quantity of electricity or a charge flowing through the wire is given by the notation, that is Q we can take. Even Q is equal to N into F also we take. N is called number of electrons only. If 1 mole of electrons passed means 1F, that is electricity. If 2 moles of electrons are supplied, that is what the 2F, 2 Faraday of electricity. If 3 moles of electrons are required or passed through the wire means then it is called 3 Faraday or 3F. Means it is 1 into 96,500 coulombs you can take, or 2 into 96,500 coulomb you can take, or 3 into 96,500 coulomb we have to take. Or generally we can take Q is equal to N into F. Okay. And even here one more concept is also there here. The quantity of electricity is also calculated by means of what current strength for which how much time taken. That is also one of the relation given by the quantity of electricity. That is what Q is equal to I into T we can take. Q is equal to I into T. It is also one of the relation. I is called what it is current strength, and T that is called what time during the process or time taken during that process. In this way, Q is equal to I into T. We can take what one of the relation for the quantity of electricity, quantity of the electrical charge passed through the wire. Okay. Now we have taken the example as copper sulfate, in which how the copper is produced or liberated or deposited on the electrode. Suppose if we take sodium ion, if you take, how much electric current is required? Here 1 mole of electrons required to deposit 1 mole of the sodium solid. Okay. Similarly, if you take the magnesium ion, it takes support 2 electrons or 2 moles of electrons to form 1 mole of the magnesium. And similarly, we take the aluminum, hang the charge +3 in the aqueous state, or you can take aluminum ion. It requires what now? 2 moles of electrons to form that aluminum solid. So in this way, sodium, in order to deposit 1 mole, it requires 1 mole of electrons. Magnesium, in order to deposit 1 mole, 2 moles of electrons required by the magnesium. In order to deposit aluminum, 3 moles of electrons are required. In order to deposit 1 mole of aluminum, that 3 moles of electrons are required. So this is what the quantity of electricity required to deposit so and so amount of the different substances. Now here it may be sodium, or it may be the magnesium, or it may be aluminum, or you take any other substances. How much electricity is required? 1 mole means we can take the 1 Faraday. Here 2 moles means we can take 2 Faraday. Here 3 moles, no, we have to take 3 Faraday of electricity. So in this way, we can just study about the quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Following all of you? So this is what we are studying now. Quantitative aspects of electricity means how much substance produced at respective electrode means, no, that is based on how much electric current we have supplied. That electric current is given by the notation Q only. We can take Q is equal to N into F, that is charge carried by that wire. And one more thing, Q is equal to I into T also we can take. I is called current strength and small t is called time taken. So that is also one quantity of the electricity. Following all of you. Okay. Now we shall move towards the laws of electrolysis. Laws of electrolysis. Following laws of electrolysis. The scientist Michael Faraday gave some quantitative relation regarding the amount of the substance deposited or liberated or produced at an electrode and the quantity of the electricity. This quantitative relationship between the amount of the substance produced at the electrode and the quantity of the electricity given by the laws called what now? Faraday's laws of electrolysis. There are 2 types we are studying. First one is Faraday's first law of electrolysis. Faraday's first law of electrolysis. What is this Faraday's first law of electrolysis? It is very important concept here in the case of that electrolysis process. What is this Faraday's law? What is that Faraday's first law of electrolysis? You know. So first of all here now, whenever we pass that electric potential or electric current through the electrolytic solutions, the substance deposited at the electrodes. So here no amount of the electricity or the quantity of electricity increases, amount of the substance produced at the electrodes also increasing. This is what is called the Faraday's first law of electrolysis. You know what is the statement for the law? What is the statement for the law? During electrolysis, the amount of the substance, deposited at the electrode is directly proportional to is directly proportional to quantity of electricity passed. Quantity of electricity passed. This is what is called Faraday's first law of electrolysis. What is that? Faraday's first law? Very simple. During electrolysis, the amount of the substance deposited at the electrode, whether it may be cathode or it may be the anode, amount of the substance produced or liberated on the electrode or at the electrode is directly proportional to the quantity of the electricity passed. Means amount of the current what you supply increases, means the quantity of the substance deposited or substance produced on the electrode also increasing. This is what is called the Faraday's first law of electrolysis. Okay, now it is mathematically given by, I take what now, small m. Small m is the mass of the substance deposited at the electrode, directly proportional to the Q, that is quantity of electricity. Amount of the substance deposited, that is a small m, is directly proportional to quantity of electricity. We know that here now Q is equal to IT. We know the relation Q is equal to IT. Therefore, this relation can be written as M proportional to I into T. We can take M proportional to I into T. I is called current strength in amperes and T is called time in seconds. This is the relation given by the quantity of electricity. That is what value of Q is substituted in this relation. Now it will become what? Small m proportional to I into T. Or finally, we can write this one in this manner also. M is equals to Z into I into T we can take. This is the final form of the law, what is called Faraday's first law of electricity or Faraday's first law of electrolysis. So here that Z is called electrochemical equivalent. It is just abbreviated in this manner, electrochemical equivalent. What is it? Is called a proportionality constant, or it may be what is electrochemical equivalent. So this is one of the important term in this Faraday's law. What is it? Electrochemical equivalent. You know what is meant by the term electrochemical equivalent? What is meant by the term electrochemical equivalent? ECE means what? You know that amount of the substance deposited by passing 1 coulomb of electricity is called what? Electrochemical equivalent. What is called electrochemical equivalent? Electrochemical equivalent means amount of the substance deposited by passing 1 coulomb of electricity is called what? Electrochemical equivalent. What is called? Electrochemical equivalent. What is meant by the term electrochemical equivalent? Electrochemical equivalent is defined as the amount of substance produced or deposited by passing 1 coulomb of electricity. Here now we know that 1 coulomb is equal to 1 ampere into 1 second also we can take. Even we can define like this also. What is meant by electrochemical equivalent? Electrochemical equivalent means amount of the substance deposited by passing what? 1 amperes current for 1 second is also called what? Electrochemical equivalent. Is called what? Electrochemical equivalent. What is meant by the term electrochemical equivalent? Amount of the substance deposited by passing 1 coulomb of electricity, or the amount of the substance deposited or discharged or produced at an electrode by passing 1 amperes current for 1 second is also called what? Electrochemical equivalent. Okay. Regarding electrochemical equivalent and what is it? Faraday's first law of electrolysis we have studied. Very important concept only it is. Usually 1 mark or 2 marks questions will be asking you. What is that Faraday's first law or state Faraday's first law? They are asking the question. Easily you can write. The last state is that during electrolysis, amount of the substance deposited at the electrode is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity passed. He is called what? That is the first law of electrolysis or Faraday's first law of electrolysis. It is given by, that is small m proportional to q. Small m is called what? Mass of the substance deposited, and q is called what? Quantity of the electricity passed. This relation can be written like this also. M proportional to I into T because Q is equal to IT. What is I is called current strength, what is T is called time in seconds. Following? Or finally you can write in this manner, M is equal to Z into I into T. Here no, Z is called what? Proportionality constant, or also it is called as a chemical equivalent, electrochemical equivalent. I is called current strength in amperes and T is called time in seconds. So this is a very, very important relation regarding that electrolysis or the Faraday's laws of electrolysis. Based on this relation, there will be some numericals. That is why we should know the relation carefully. Based on this one, any one variable can be asked by giving other variables. So we can find the mass of the substance deposited, or you can find Z value, that is what an electrochemical equivalent. Even you can find current strength, that is I. Even you can also find time in seconds. Any variable can be calculated by using the relation called what? That is Faraday's first law of electrolysis. Following all of you. Okay. Here some additional point I will be just explaining. What are the additional points? You see that 1 Faraday electricity, 1 Faraday electricity deposits how much of the substance? 1 gram equivalent of the substance. 1 gram equivalent of the substance. Should know that. 1 Faraday of electricity deposits how much? Any substance it may be. If you pass 1 Faraday of electricity through what? Any solution, electrolytic solution, how much substance will be deposited on the electrode, How much substance will be deposited on the electrode, How much? 1 gram equivalent of the substance. 1 Faraday, nothing but 96,500 coulombs only. 96,500 coulombs deposit the same amount of the substance, 1 Faraday or 96,500 coulombs deposits 1 gram equivalent of the substance. So here just I am taking some examples. Suppose sodium is there, sodium. What is the equivalent mass of the sodium, What is the equivalent mass of the sodium, Equivalent mass and atomic mass of sodium is the same. That is 23 gram. Or you can take that 23 only. What is this 23 is called? Equivalent mass of sodium. Equivalent mass of sodium. Similarly, I am taking one more example. What is called a magnesium. What is the equivalent weight or equivalent mass of the magnesium? That is 12 gram. Is the equivalent weight of the magnesium. Following all of you. Equivalent weight of aluminum, how much? It is 9 gram. One relation will be there to calculate equivalent mass of the elements, Equivalent weight of an element is equal to, equivalent weight of an element is equal to, equivalent weight of element is equal to atomic weight of the element divided by valency. Atomic weight of the element divided by valency. Suppose if I take sodium, yes, what is atomic weight of sodium? It is 23. What is the valency of the sodium? Valency means number of electrons lost or gained or shared by an atom of an element, that is called what? Valency only. Here sodium is having the valency 1. Therefore, its atomic weight as well as equivalent weight will be same. Atomic weight also 23, equivalent weight also 23. Suppose magnesium, what is that equivalent weight, Atomic weight of the magnesium is how much? How much it is? 24 gram. divided by what? Valency of the magnesium is 2 only. Then what is the equivalent weight? Equivalent weight of the magnesium is 12 gram, I am telling. Similarly, equivalent weight of aluminum is how much? Here atomic weight is 27 divided by valency is 3 is equal to how much? 9 gram. Similarly, equivalent weight of oxygen how much you know? So oxygen atom, equivalent weight of oxygen atom 16 divided by valency is 2 is equal to how much? 8 gram only. Equivalent weight of the carbon how much you know? Atomic weight of the carbon is 12 gram. Then valency is 4. Then what is the equivalent weight? 3 gram. These are the relations or the relation given by equivalent weight and atomic weight. What is it? Equivalent weight of the element. By using this relation, we can find the equivalent weight of the element. What is equivalent weight of sodium? 23. Equivalent weight of magnesium? 12. Equivalent weight of aluminum? 9. Okay. What I am telling, this is one of the important concept. 1 Faraday of electricity, 1 Faraday of electricity or 96,500 coulombs of electricity is passed through any aqueous solution or any electrolytic solution. How much substance will be deposited at the electrode? How much substances? That is 1 gram equivalent weight of the substance or 1 gram equivalent of the substance. 1 gram equivalent of the sodium is equal to 23 gram. 1 gram equivalent mass of the magnesium is 12 gram. 1 gram equivalent mass of aluminum is 9. 1 gram equivalent mass of oxygen is 8. 1 gram equivalent mass of carbon is 3. 1 gram equivalent mass of hydrogen is 1 gram. Following, there are many examples you can take regarding what no, the calculation of the equivalent weight. So if you know the atomic weight and the valency, we can find the equivalent weight of the elements. Suppose if we take electrolytic solution of the substance like what no, in the earlier concept I told that Cu plus 2 deposited by taking 2 electrons and the Cu solid will be deposited in this manner. You know the atomic weight of the copper is 63. You know what is the equivalent weight of the copper? Equivalent weight of the copper, that is 63 by 2 because valency of copper is 2 is equal to 31 point how much? 63 divided by 2. 63 divided by 2, 31.5 it will be. 31.5. Following all of you. So 31.5 is the equivalent weight of the copper. 31.5 is the equivalent weight of the copper. Following all of you. Okay. If you pass 1 Faraday of electricity, how much is substance deposited? If you pass that 96,500 coulomb of electricity, how much substance is deposited? 1 Faraday is same as 96,500 coulomb. This much of electricity is passed through any that electrolytic solution. So substance deposited is how much? 1 equivalent mass of that substance. Now 1 equivalent mass of the copper will be how much? 31.5. 1 equivalent weight of the sodium is how much? 23. 1 equivalent weight of magnesium is that is how much? 12. 1 equivalent weight of aluminum is how much? That is 9. So in this way, if you pass 1 coulomb, 1 Faraday of electricity, 23 gram of sodium deposited. If you pass 1 Faraday of electricity through magnesium electrolytic solution, you will get deposited how much? 12 gram of magnesium. If same 1 Faraday of electricity deposited through an electrolytic solution of aluminum, 9 gram aluminum will be deposited. In this way, we should know the concept 1 Faraday or 96,500 coulomb of electricity deposits 1 gram equivalent of the substance. 1 gram equivalent of the substance. So this is a very, very important concept regarding the quantitative aspects of electrolysis or quantitative aspect of electrolysis. These the concepts now will be very, very important. First of all, very simple concept, what is called Faraday's first law. You should know the statement, you should know the mathematical expression. In this, what is it? Electrochemical equivalent. And then so some important points based on what the NEET or it may be JEE, even CET. Based on this concept, there will be some questions. If you pass, this is conversion factor, you should know that 1 Faraday or 96,500 coulomb electricity passed through in electrolytic solution, how much substance deposited or discharged? 1 gram equivalent of the substance discharged at the electrode. Based on this, we can calculate. If you pass 2 Faraday electricity, how much substance deposited? 2 equivalents. If you pass 3 Faraday, 3 equivalents. If you pass 10 Faraday, 10 equivalents. If you pass 100 Faraday of electrolysis, 100 equivalents will be deposited. This is what now for 1 Farad how much deposits? 1 Farad how much deposited? 1 gram equivalent of the substance. So based on this one, we can calculate now what is the amount of the substance deposited by passing a so and so quantity of electricity. We can take either in terms of the 96,500 coulomb or you can take in terms of the Faraday of electricity. So this is very important thing only. Based on this concept, how many number of electrons are transferred, that is very important. You know what is the charge on the sodium? +1. Charge on the magnesium? +2. Charge on the aluminium? +3. Here you know, in case of the sodium, 1 mole of electrons required to deposit 1 mole of sodium. In case of magnesium, no, that is 2 moles of electrons required to deposit 1 mole of magnesium. To deposit 1 mole of aluminum, 3 electrons are required. Is it not? For 1 Faraday, how much deposited? For 2 Faradays, how much deposited? For 3 Faradays, how much deposited? These are all the things now we should know that. Very important only. Faraday's laws are very important in the case of electrochemistry. Compulsory questions will be available or appearing in the examinations, either in the board exam or maybe in the NEET or it may be in CET or it may be in the JEE. The concepts based on what the electrolysis or it may be Faraday's laws of electrolysis, the questions will be available. We must know properly and carefully to understand the concept of what electrolysis and Faraday's first law. Okay. Now we shall move towards the one more law, second one, that is called Faraday's second law of electrolysis. Faraday's second law of electrolysis. Okay, now after the first law of electrolysis, we will move towards the second one, what is called Faraday's second law of electrolysis. What is it, Faraday's second law of electrolysis? Just based on the diagram, we can just understand what is that concept. Here now, in this diagram, there will be a different electrolytic solutions. Like now, it is called a zinc sulfate solution here, zinc sulfate solution, and this is called a copper sulfate solution, and this is called a silver nitrate solution. Silver nitrate solution. 3 solutions are connected in a series, and these solutions are connected to the battery, or it may be one of the electrochemical cell or galvanic cell. When you pass electricity through these solutions, how the substance will be deposited? We already know that this is what is called now anode, at which oxidation takes place. This is called what now? Cathode, at which reduction takes place. Even here also it is anode and it is cathode. It is anode and it is cathode. These 3 solutions are connected in series, and the solutions are connected to the battery. Battery supplies electric current. Now here now the substance will be deposited now. Based on the oxidation and reduction reactions, now the substances will be produced on the electrodes, respective electrodes. You know that here. Suppose 1 mole of electricity, 1 Faraday of electricity, or 2 Faradays of electricity, or 3 Faradays of electricity passed, how much substances will be deposited? Here also the same thing. Amount of the substance produced at the electrode directly proportional to what now? Amount of the substance deposited at the electrode directly proportional to what? Quantity of the electricity. Means if you increase the amount of electric current supplied, then the amount of the substance produced also increasing. This is what is called Faraday's second law. What is the statement for the law, you know? What is the statement for the law? What is it? Faraday's second law of electrolysis. You know, during electrolysis, when same quantity of electricity passed through the different electrolytic solutions, when the same quantity of the substance passed through the different electrolytic solutions, the amount of substance deposited is proportional to the equivalent masses. Amount of the substance deposited is directly proportional to equivalent masses. It is given by the relation, mathematically it is given by the relation m proportional to E. So this is the mathematical expression for the law. Following all of you, what is that mathematical expression for the law? M proportional to E. What is called M? Mass of the substance deposited is directly proportional to equivalent mass. What is the statement? Once again, during electrolysis, when the same amount of electricity passed through the different electrolytic solutions which are connected in series, in which amount of the substance deposited is directly proportional to equivalent mass. This is what is called Faraday's second law of electrolysis. What is this? Faraday's second law of electrolysis, you know. Faraday's law, second law of electrolysis is that during electrolysis, amount of the substance, during electrolysis, when same amount of electricity is passed through the different electrolytic solutions connected in series. Once again, during electrolysis, when same amount of electricity is passed through the different electrolytic solutions connected in series, in which amount of the substance deposited is directly proportional to equivalent masses. Amount of the substances deposited directly proportional to equivalent masses. This is what is called Faraday's second law of electrolysis. Very, very, very important. What is it? Faraday's second law of electrolysis. Once again, during electrolysis, when the same amount of electricity is passed through the different electrolytic solutions connected in series, in which the amount of the substances deposited directly proportional to their equivalent masses. This is called Faraday's second law. Okay, how to represent the Faraday's second law? We already know the concept. M is directly proportional to E we are taking. M is directly proportional to E. So now here, no, electrochemical equivalent, that is Z is equal to what, you know, E divided by 96,500 coulomb. You know what is it? Z is called here electrochemical equivalent. E is called what? Equivalent mass. What is electrochemical equivalent? Amount of the substance deposited by passing 1 coulomb of electricity. Following, if you pass 96,500 coulomb of electricity, 1 equivalent substance will be deposited. But if you pass 1 coulomb of electricity, how much deposited? That is called electrochemical equivalent. Following all of you? So, electrochemical equivalent and equivalent masses are related in this manner. Z is equal to E divided by 96,500. What is electrochemical equivalent? Amount of the substance deposited by passing 1 coulomb of electricity. If you pass 96,500 coulomb of electricity, how much substance is deposited? 1 gram equivalent. So per coulomb how much deposited? E divided by 96,500 coulomb. So this is what is called electrochemical equivalent. So what is the unit of the electrochemical equivalent? It is gram per coulomb we take. Equivalent mass is expressed in terms of the gram, and amount of the electricity or quantity of electricity is expressed in terms of the coulomb, gram per coulomb. So this is what the unit of the electrochemical equivalent. Okay, now we can take this relation can be written as E is equal to what? Z into 96,500 coulomb. E is equal to Z into 96,500 coulomb. Okay, now I am telling regarding what that mass of the substance M1 and another substance if you take mass of the substance that is M2 is equal to what you take? Is equal to or E1 divided by what that is E2 we can take. E1 divided by E2. Are you following this point? So how we can get that E1 by E2? So M1 divided by M2 is equal to what you take here, no? Z into 96,500 coulomb divided by Z into 96,500 coulomb here. Following? When the same amount of electricity, but the same amount of electricity, suppose if you take Q is equal to, what is the relation? I into T. Suppose, what is that? I is called current strength. T is called what? Time in seconds. So 96,500 coulomb of electricity is passed through the different electrolytic solutions. How much substance will be deposited? Following all of you. Now here no, the value of E will be Z into 96,500, and here no, the value of that E is equal to Z into 96,500. So instead of writing this relation, we take what now? M1 by M2 is equal to E1 divided by E2. So this is what is called the expression for the Faraday's second law of electrolysis. In order to solve the numerical problems, we go through this relation. What is this? M1 by M2. M1 is called mass of the substance, mass of the substance. A, if you take, this is what? Mass of the substance. B, mass of the substance. B. This is equal to what? Equivalent mass of the substance A divided by equivalent mass of the substance B, we can write. So this is the relation we can write regarding Faraday's second law. Mass of the substance A by mass of the substance B is equal to equivalent mass of the substance A by equivalent mass of the substance B. Or you can write like this: mass of the substance A by equivalent mass of the substance A is equal to mass of the substance B is equal to equivalent mass of the substance B only. Even if you take the different electrolytic solutions like what? ZnSO4, even CuSO4 and AgNO3. You know here mass of Zn divided by equivalent mass of Zn is equal to mass of the copper deposited divided by equivalent mass of copper deposited, or this is equal to mass of silver divided by equivalent mass of silver, we can write. Even if you take hydrogen is equal to mass of hydrogen divided by equivalent mass of hydrogen. Okay, just to understand the concept carefully, mass of hydrogen by equivalent mass of hydrogen. Even this can be written in terms of the volume. This is what now? Volume of the hydrogen at STP divided by the volume occupied by one equivalent mass of hydrogen. One equivalent mass of hydrogen. You know what is the volume occupied by the hydrogen at STP, and what is the volume occupied by one equivalent mass of hydrogen? One equivalent mass of hydrogen will be equal to how much? 1 gram. So now here volume of hydrogen at STP will be given. Volume occupied by the 1 gram equivalent mass of hydrogen will be equal to what? That is 11,200. That is the same we can take, or 11.2 liter also we can take. So this is what is called the application of the Faraday's second law of electrolysis. When the two or more solutions are connected in a series, same amount of the electric current is passed through that different electrolytic solutions connected in series. How much substances will be deposited? So this is according to what now? Faraday's second law. Statement we know that already. Amount of the substance deposited during electrolysis now is directly proportional to quantity of electricity. That is first law. In the second law, what happens here now? Mass of the substance deposited at the electrodes is directly proportional to its equivalent mass. Then how it is represented? There are different electrolytic solutions. Suppose here now substance A and substance B will be there. According to the relation, mass of the substance A divided by mass of the substance B take is equal to equivalent mass of the substance A by equivalent mass of the substance B, or mass of the substance A by equivalent mass of the substance A, or mass of the substance B divided by equivalent mass of the substance B. I just take some examples. If you pass electricity through the different electrolytic solutions like zinc sulfate solution, copper sulfate solution and silver nitrate solution, I am taking only cathodic reaction. Means the reduction will be taking place on the cathode. On the cathode now Zn plus 2 discharged in the form of Zn. On the cathode now here copper is discharged. On the cathode here, no, silver is discharged. How much silver discharged? So we should know the relation. Mass of the zinc by equivalent mass of the zinc. Mass of the copper by equivalent mass of the copper. Mass of the silver by equivalent mass of the silver. In terms of what, that is gases, if we take, what is it? Mass of hydrogen by equivalent mass of hydrogen. Here, instead of what, this mass of hydrogen, you take volume of the hydrogen at STP will be given, divided by what is the volume occupied by one equivalent mass of the hydrogen. That is 11.2 liter or 11,200 cm3 we can take. Even in case of the oxygen, what you know, it is volume occupied by the oxygen at STP you take, divided by that is 5,600 cm3 or it may be 5.6 liter you can take. So this is one of the important concept in that electrochemistry part, particularly the Faraday's first law and Faraday's second law are very important, and based on this there will be the different numericals will be there that you can solve here. So these are the concepts you should know that. Particularly in chemistry, we should have some strong theoretical background, particularly in the competitive examinations. So we should have some theoretically strong basic we have. We should have the basic concepts carefully. We should study the concepts. For example, chemical bonding in the first year, even atomic structure, even basic concepts of chemistry, even the periodic table. If you come across the organic chemistry, hydrocarbons, even the basic concepts of organic chemistry, these are all very important. Theoretically, we should know very well. We should have some strong theoretical background. Then only what happens, we can score maximum marks, even in the competitive examinations also. That's why I am telling, whenever you study the concepts, you just apply your mind and carefully you just read the content and try to understand. So this is what a very important thing, particularly in our chemistry concepts. We should know the concepts or contents theoretically. If you have the strong theoretical background, definitely we can score that maximum marks, what I am telling. So this is about the Faraday's first law and Faraday's second law. Whenever they ask the statement for the Faraday's first law and second law, drawing a diagram is not necessary. Just I am telling about the diagram is, in order to understand the statement that is second law, Faraday's second law, I am drawing the diagram. But here also you can just go through the diagram, but in the examination if time is there you can draw, otherwise it is not compulsory. So this is about the Faraday's first law and Faraday's second law, and in it the points which are very very important, what I told in the case of the first law, you should know this one, what is that, Q is equal to IT, and even though that is M is proportional to what, that is IT, or M is equal to Z into IT. What is Z and what is I and what is T and what is M, you should know that carefully. Based on that, there will be some 2 marks questions will be available. Even based on the second law also, this is very important relation, M1 by M2 is equal to E1 by E2. You apply this one, mass of the substance A by mass of substance B, that is equal to equivalent mass of A by equivalent mass of B. Minimum 2 substances must be there, because now we pass the this one same quantity of electricity through the different electrolytic solutions. Same quantity of electricity means now we just connect these solutions now to the battery. That battery will supply the electric current, that same quantity of electric current through these solutions. Amount of the substance deposited, that will be different, because amount will be deposited in terms of the equivalent masses only. Equivalent mass of the zinc is different from equivalent mass of the copper, is different from equivalent mass of the silver, is different from equivalent mass of hydrogen. That is what maybe the quantity of electricity passed same, but the amount of the substance deposited at the electrodes, that will be different. So this is what the important thing in the electrochemistry part, very very important. Even the board examination is concerned, as well as for now the competitive examinations are concerned, these concepts are very very important. Even the numericals also appearing mainly based on this concept. Following all of you. Okay, after this electrolysis, we will move towards the another concept, what is called a battery. What is called a battery? Batteries we use in our daily life, in automobiles like car, buses, lorry, even bikes. In any kind of automobiles, usually we need some electrical energy. That is what the battery or batteries we are using. Following. Even we use some of the batteries in calculators, in electronic devices, even it may be in cameras, or it may be in case of a wall clock. In the different areas, we commonly use the different kinds of the batteries. Now here, first of all, battery is nothing but electrochemical cell it is. Battery is nothing but electrochemical cell, because using the spontaneous chemical reactions involving oxidation and reduction reactions are responsible for the generation of electricity in that galvanic cell or electrochemical cell. Now here, what is meant by the term battery? What is meant by the term battery, Usually what happens, the lead storage battery is there. That we'll discuss later. Lead storage battery. Particularly in home now we are using as inverter or as UPS we are using. So it gives what now? One cell gives 2 volts. At least in our daily life, in order to run the vehicles, minimum we need some 12 volts battery. Some cases at least we need a 6 volts battery. One cell gives only 2 volts. But we need some 6 volts, means how to get the 6 volts? One cell gives 2 volts. We need 6 volts. The 3 cells are connected in series. In order to get the 6 volts battery, we need to connect that 3 cells. One lead storage battery, one lead storage cell can produce only 2 volts of electric current. But we need some 6 volts or 12 volts or more than that, means we have to connect these cells in series. Arrangement of the 2 or more electrochemical cells connected in series. Arrangement of the 2 or more electrochemical cells connected in series called what? Battery. Following all of you? What is meant by the term battery? Term battery is the arrangement of 2 or more electrochemical cells connected in series called battery. Here there are 2 types of the battery we are studying. One is called primary battery. One is called what? Primary battery. Primary battery, or you can write primary cells. Primary cells or primary battery. Okay. One more is a secondary battery. Primary battery or primary cells. One more is a secondary cell or secondary battery. What do you mean by primary battery? Primary cells particularly we use in calculators, in the transistors, in the video cameras, like that now we are using even in wall clocks and all. You know that already. There are different kinds of the battery. For example, now you know in the market, BPL cell, Eveready, Nippo, like that now variants will be there. The companies now, they usually in their names they supply in the market. These batteries we are using. Even in case of calculators we are using. Even in case of transistors we are using. So after some days, after some period of time, we just throw it out because these batteries will not working continuously. Following all of you, once the chemicals exhaust inside that cell or inside that battery, it cannot be used again and again. Such batteries are called what? Primary batteries or primary cells. What are primary cells? Primary cells are those, and these cells dead after some period of time, and cannot be reused again and again, called what? Primary cells. In case of the primary cells, for example we take dry cell. For example, dry cell. Dry cell is nothing but what? No, Leclanche cell. Leclanche cell. Okay. And one more example is mercury cell. Mercury cell. These are the examples regarding what? Primary battery. Primary cells. Once no, after some period of time, these are the chemicals present inside that battery exhausted means cannot be reused, cannot be recycled again and again. Once if it is exhausted means it can be thrown out. Hence it is called what? Primary cells or primary batteries. The batteries which can be used at certain period of time cannot be reused. Such batteries are called what? Primary cells or primary battery. For example, dry cell, or it may be mercury cell we can take. Okay, now here no, I take an example regarding a dry cell.